You want to find that drive and focus that has you locked in and on fire every single day? My book, The Mirror Motivation, will do it for you. I bought a copy for you. You take care of the shipping. The book is free. Click the link down there. I got you. You're now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all of this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. This is the go-getter energy that moves me, you, and everyone else out there to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all of this together into one package, and what you get is the mindset, the method, the podcast known as Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic is how to finish everything that you start. How to develop more of a completion mindset, not only just the mindset of completion, but to actually follow through on it, to have a reputation. That's the better way of putting this, to get a reputation for completing things because you actually do so. Now, many of us at times will suffer from overwhelm, and overwhelm is not meaning that we're doing a whole lot of things. Overwhelm just is a relative thing. It means that we feel like in our own minds that we have too much to do, but not enough of it yet done, too much of it to do and not enough of it yet done. And we're unsure about where or how to begin, and or maybe even additionally, we're unsure of if we'll even be able to get it all done within some reasonable time frame, whatever reasonable would be for you. Now, I did an article where I actually talked about this. If you go to dreallday.com/overwhelmed, you can read that article. The fix, the basic fix, is to just do one thing at a time. So if you stop looking at the 10 things that are on your list of things that need to be done, and instead just say, all right, what's the one thing that I can do right now? Just do one. Now, when you come back to that list, as long as you don't add to it, now you only have 9 things to do. Now you do the same thing again, one thing. Now you have 8, and eventually you'll get down to everything being done, as long as, again, you're disciplined enough to not keep adding to the list, because then you have an endless to-do list, which is what you don't want. And that's what happens to a lot of people. And in my 25 hours time control course, which you can take at workonmygame.com/time, TIME, I tell you how to get over this problem, how to eliminate this problem simply, easily, and quickly, so that you never have this endless list problem where it's just all these things that you need to do. As soon as you get done 5 of them, it's 10 more on the list. You get done 7, it's 8 more on the list. You get done 2, it's 4 more on the list. If you want to stop having that problem, again, go to workonmygame.com/time, and I'll show you exactly how that's done. But the basic fix, just a quick tip for all of you, is just do one thing at a time. I don't care how long the list is, but you don't want to be left with a whole bunch of things that you started and did not complete, because that leads to stage 2 overwhelm. You have all this stuff that you started, some things, not finished them, a bunch of things you never started, and the list just keeps getting longer and longer. Before you know it, you're declaring time, effort, energy, attention, and focus bankruptcy. Basically, you're declaring bankruptcy of everything except money, because you have all these things that you're supposed to do, all these commitments that you're supposed to complete, but you cannot complete them. Today, we're going to handle that issue so that at least from this point forward, I don't know what you've been doing up to now. You might have to cut your losses right now. You might have to declare bankruptcy right now for all the stuff that you've committed to and have not finished. But we can start with a fresh slate from that point forward and handle this issue of you not starting things that you're not going to finish, and you not finishing things that you have started. I'm going to tell you exactly how that works here today. So take notes. Point number 1. Today's topic again is how to finish everything you start. First thing you must do is choose wisely. This is the most important. This is one of the most important decisions you must make. One of the most important factors, rather, that go into your success in life. In everything is choosing wisely, choosing which battles to fight, choosing which people to associate with and which people to ignore, choosing what situations to engage in and which situations to walk away from, choosing whether you're going to do this thing or you're going to do that thing, because you may not be able to do both at the exact same time. When you choose wisely, then your hard work, then your decision making, then your skill, then your effort, then your luck, timing, your associations, your everything else will start working better for you. If you make the wrong choice, you could put all of those things into it and still not get quite the kind of result that you thought you would be getting. This is basically the 80-20 rule, and everyone knows what that is, right? 80% of your outcomes, the good things that you want, are coming from 20% of your inputs, which means 80% of the things that you're doing are not having much of an impact on your results in life. Your job is to get focused and apply this 80-20 principle to your life. Apply it to your business. Apply it to your relationships. Apply it to your energies, your thoughts. Apply it to the words that you're speaking. Apply it to what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. If you have this long to-do list that never seems to get shorter, you need to start applying the 80-20 rule to your actions and ask yourself, what are the outcomes that I'm after, and where are 80% of these outcomes coming from? You're going to realize that only 20% of your actions are producing those outcomes. Therefore, you can start getting rid of a whole bunch of things, and now you'll eliminate that problem. This overwhelm problem of having so many things to do but not enough time, energy, attention, or focus to do them all. So this is really about focus. And in my 30 Days of Discipline course, you're going to learn a whole lot about focus. You can take that at workonmygame.com/30. That's the number 30 for 30 Days to Discipline. But choosing wisely. This is the starting point of your achievement. Choosing in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, he talks about the starting point of all achievement is choosing a definite chief aim. So it's the exact same point. You must choose what that aim is going to be. If you choose the wrong aim based on who you are, where you are, the factors and circumstances of your current life, your abilities, or what type of person you are, what you will take to and what will take to you, if you choose unwisely there, even if you do everything else right, you're not going to get the kind of results that you've expected. When you choose wisely, things will work in your favor, even if your efforts, your energies, your timing, your skills, your products, your services, your everything else, even if your inputs are suboptimal, if you had chosen wisely, things are going to be working in your favor regardless. And then once you start making better choices, maybe if you get around some people who can help you see the things that you're either unable or refusing to see, then you'll see that good choice is going to start turning out even better returns. So the biggest thing for all of us, the starting point is making the right decision as to what it is you're doing. And to relate to today's topic, which is again, how to finish everything you start. Choosing wisely means don't start things for which you cannot draw a line to your ultimate outcomes. Meaning, you need to know where you're aiming to go, and you must be able to answer the question, how does this thing that I'm about to commit to, this thing that I'm about to say yes to, this thing that I'm about to put on my to-do list or on my calendar, how does this thing help me get to my ultimate outcome? If your ultimate outcome is X and you're about to do A, B, and C, you need to know how each A, B, and C, how are they going to get you closer to achieving that X ultimate outcome? If you cannot answer that question, maybe you shouldn't be doing A, B, or C. Maybe all three of them, maybe 2 out of the 3. You should be able to answer, all right, doing this is going to get me closer to the outcome that I wish to achieve. Now, I want you all to understand, and I've said this a lot of times in many different places, hard work is important. I mean, this podcast is called Work on Your Game after all, but working hard on the wrong things is not a good idea. It's worse than not a good idea. It's actually a very bad idea. It's one of the most costliest mistakes that you can make is working hard on the wrong things. Now, what constitutes a wrong thing? A wrong thing is relative. Wrong is a relative term. All right, so I can do something and say is right for me, and it can be wrong for you, and we are both accurate. You need to know the compass with which you'll be measuring what's right and what's wrong is you knowing what your ultimate aim is. What is your outcome? What are you looking to achieve? If you can't answer that question, then nothing you do is the right thing to do. And everything you do could be the wrong thing to do because you have no idea where the hell you're going. Where are you going? What business are you in? Do you know? Until you have an answer to that question, until you've chosen wisely what your definite aim is going to be, you can't choose wisely as far as what to start, what to stop, and what to complete. So that's a question that you need to put some time into. You need to meditate on that. And it may not come to you immediately. You may need to think about this for some time, but you do need to think about it. And once you come up with a clear answer, then you can start mapping everything else that is subservient to that definite aim, which is at the top of your pyramid, so to speak. Everything else needs to point back to the pinnacle of that pyramid. And anything that doesn't point to the pinnacle of the pyramid does not go on your to-do list, does not take up any of your time, does not get a commitment from you. That's choosing wisely. Point number 2. Today's topic is how to finish everything you start. Say no more often. So this ties right into what I said in point number 1, choosing wisely. Choosing means you have options, right? That's the inherent assumption that we're making when I'm talking about choosing is that you actually have a choice. Meaning you can say yes, you can say no. You can go to the left, you can go to the right. You can do this thing or you can not do this thing. And what I'm advising you to do, if you want to finish more things that you start, is not to just start a whole bunch of things and use more energy and just hope that somehow the universe grants you more than 24 hours in a day. No, that's a bad decision. That's bad choosing. I'm telling you to say no more often. Saying no is a choice. Turning something down is a choice. Declining is a choice. Turning your back and going the other direction is a choice. I'm telling you to say no more often. There's an author by the name of Derek Sivers. Those of you who don't know who Derek is, he's written several books. One of the last books that he wrote was called Anything You Want. You look that book up. He doesn't write super long novel length books. His books are actually really short. They're very pithy and what's the best way that I could describe? He uses a lot of I guess what we call aphorisms. Really good books that you can sit down and read in one sitting. I really like Derek's style. I've exchanged emails with him a few times actually. When I was first starting out in professional speaking, I exchanged some emails about 4 or 5 years ago with Derek. Good guy. If any of you remember the company called CD Baby, Derek Sivers was the guy who actually started that company, and he sold the company. I forget who he sold it to. I believe he sold it for, I can't remember if it was $2 million or $25 million. It was one of those. I think it was 25 million, something like that. But anyway, Derek was the first person I ever heard use this idea of hell yes or no. I did a whole podcast episode on this subject early on in this podcast, probably about episode 80 or episode 100, around that range, which you can get access to in the game group. And I'll talk about that later. But Derek talked about hell yes or no, and many people have taken this concept and they've used it themselves. But he's the first one who said it that I heard. Maybe he got it from someone else, but I'll give him credit for it. And the whole concept is very simple. When you are offered an opportunity to do something, to be involved in something, to commit your time, commit your attention, your focus, your energy to anything, you have two options. Here are the two options. This will help you a whole lot with decision making. Either you are thinking, hell yes, I want to do that thing, or the answer is no. Simple as that. If you're not thinking hell yes, then the answer is no. So this will help. Again, when you're stuck, when you're not quite sure which option to take, you're trying to make a decision, you're kind of sort of on this thing here, and you're kind of sort of on that thing here, and you're okay on this, and you're kind of mild on that one right there, then I would say you say no to all of those, because none of them was a hell yes. The things that you're jumping out of bed for, metaphorically speaking, or really excited to do, or you're really looking forward to being involved in, those are the things that you need to put your time into. Anything that doesn't fall into that category, say no to it, and only do the things that you're really excited about, that you're really looking forward to, you're really gung-ho about. If you don't feel that way about the things that you're doing in your life right now, start saying no to them more often, until you find the things that you do want to say hell yes to. The things that you don't even have to be getting as much of a reward for, but you would do it anyway. What are those things? That's where your energy needs to go. That's where your time needs to be being spent. If you're not excited about something that you're about to do, or you're thinking about doing, or being involved in, then the answer should be no. It's as simple as that, right? I think that's a simple enough concept, right? If you're not excited about it, why are you doing it? This philosophy will keep you out of situations in which you have half-baked interests and half-hearted motivation. Has any of you ever felt that way? You ever felt like you were involved in something in which your interest was like kind of sort of like, I'm kind of interested in it, but not all the way. Like, I could do this, but I also could not do it, and I wouldn't feel bad about it. Like, this, I'm interested in this guy or this girl, but no, if they never call me again, I wouldn't be that mad about it. Those, you need to say no. Those are the ones that you shouldn't be committing to. You should not be putting time into. You need to cut those off until you can, and then go looking for something else. And not even until. Cut those off now and maybe be with nothing for the moment until you find the thing that you actually want. The biggest challenge for people in applying this concept, because I'm sure you all understand it and you probably agree with it as well. Biggest challenge people have in applying with this concept is not that they can't say no to more things. That's the logical excuse. People will call it a reason, but it's actually an excuse that most people use when they hear this concept and they think that they can't use it. The real reason that most people do not use this concept is because of your fear of the void, your fear of the emptiness, your fear of the not having anything in your hands, metaphorically speaking, to say, this is the thing that I'm doing right now. This is the person that I'm dating right now. This is the project that I'm working on right now. This is where I'm going right now. Many people have a fear of answering that question with, you know what, right now I'm not seeing anybody. Right now I'm not working on anything. Right now I don't have a job and I don't have a prospect. Right now nothing's happening because you're just staying open looking for that thing. There's a void right there until you fill it with something that you feel hell yes about. Many of us, especially in the Western world, and most of the people listening to the show are of the Western world, we have been conditioned, socialized to believe that to be a responsible, productive person, you don't even have to be an adult. You could be 16 listening to this and they already got you. All right. They already caught you in the same matrix that they got me and everybody else in, your parents, your teachers, everybody else is in the same matrix of, we don't feel like we're doing the right thing, so to speak. I'm using air quotes, the right thing, unless we're active, busy, doing something, have a whole lot of stuff on our hands, got this project over here, this one over here, we got all these things on our calendar. If we don't have that, then we feel like we're losing somehow, that we're not contributing to the world. Even if the things that are filling up our calendars and our to-do list is a bunch of bullshit that we're not excited about, and they're going to be half-finished projects because we're not excited enough about them to take them to their completion, because nothing that's worthwhile is going to get done without a little bit of friction interfering. And when there's friction in something that you're not excited about, you're probably not going to finish it because you don't have any energy to push through the friction. This is the challenge that many of us have right there. If you didn't catch everything I just said over the last 2 minutes, I suggest you rewind and listen to it again, and listen to it over and over and over again so you understand it. This is one of the biggest challenges of our civilization. It's not a whole bunch of lazy people doing nothing, even though we do have a good share of those. But those of you who are listening to this show and you've listened this far in, 15, 20 minutes into this episode, your problem is not that you're lazy and you don't do anything. Your problem is probably that you're doing a whole bunch of stuff that you shouldn't be doing. You know that you wouldn't be doing if you were not already socialized to be active, doing something, having something going on, because it makes you look like you're part of the contributing society. But understand, if you're doing a whole bunch of stuff that you're not excited about, things that you are not hell yes about, so you're something less than hell yes, all you're going to do is produce some half-ass work anyway, if you even finish it in the first place. This philosophy of hell yes or no will keep you out of situations in which you have half-baked interest. Anything in your life right now, you have half-baked interest, like you're kind of interested, but you're not really. You know what I'm talking about. You're probably thinking about, actually, you're probably doing it right now while you're listening to this, right? Or you have half-hearted motivation. You're not really excited about doing it, but you're doing it anyway, or you're making plans to do it, or you've committed to doing it. Listen, we already talked about the time and attention bankruptcy. Just declare bankruptcy and say, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I got to bail out. All right. I'm advising you to quit. If you want to call it that, call it whatever you want to call it. Just get the hell out of situations in which you are not fully interested and you are not fully motivated to do it. These are the things that are going to be undone or done half-ass or have no passion, no energy, no oomph behind them anyway, and nobody's going to buy into it any damn way. So you have nothing to gain from completing it. Okay, so I'm giving you permission to quit on those projects. You need to quit on them because you're not helping anybody by finishing them. Point number 3. Today's topic is how to finish everything that you start. Third thing you got to do is you got to fuel up. You need some fuel. You need some gas in the tank. You need a sufficiently filled tank of gas in order to, let's say, drive from one part of town to the other side of town, depending on how big your town is. You're going to need some gas in the car, right? If you're going to run a marathon tomorrow, you probably should eat a good meal and drink a whole lot of water before you start, or maybe the day before. Or if you're going to do the Ironman, you need to carb up or whatever it is that you do before you do a long race or something like that. If you have a big business event tomorrow morning, you probably need to get ample rest and probably eat a good meal the night before so your body is charged up and ready to do what you need to do. Or if you need to take the bar exam tomorrow, you probably shouldn't eat a whole bunch of candy and stay up late at night watching Netflix. You want to fuel your body up with whatever you know your body needs to get fueled up, whether that be sleep, water, food, energy, psyching yourself up, getting motivated, whatever it is that you need to do, meditating. You need to fuel yourself up before that big event, before that big project, before that big fill in the blank, whatever you have to do. Everyone inherently understands that. If you knew if you had a big thing coming up tomorrow, whatever that big thing is, you would probably adjust your schedule and your day the day before to make sure you're ready, at least that one day. All right, if you don't do anything else to prepare for it, that day before, you're going to do a whole bunch of stuff to prepare for it, right? Most of us would reasonably if we're capable of doing so, right? It's the same thing in life. If you're going to start something, your fuel is not food, it's not sleep, it's not carbs, it's not studying, it's not even meditation. Even though you could use all of those things, the most important fuel that you need for anything that you start in life, if you're going to finish it, We call it reasons. R-E-S-O-N-S. R-E-A-S-O-N-S. I say I shouldn't spell things here. Reasons. This is what will fuel you to finish what you start. Reasons for starting something are the fuel that will get you to the finish line of the thing that you started. If you don't have a strong enough reason, as soon as you hit that friction, as soon as your plans start to go off course, because every plan goes off course, the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. If you don't have good reasons, as soon as things get hard or the plan veers off course and or you encounter unexpected circumstances, what's going to happen? You're going to quit. You've seen it before in life, right? Have you not? Think about the thing that you do now. Anyone who's listening to this, who's been in any industry or field or doing any type of vocation for 10 plus years, how many people have you seen come and go? How many people started out with you but didn't last as long as you? Haven't lasted as long as you? How many people look like they had the potential and they had the tools, they had the raw material to be even better than you at the thing, but you haven't heard from them in years because they couldn't last? Why? It's not because they didn't have the tools. You just admitted that they had them. It's not because they didn't know what was going on. They had the same information that you had. Why are they not around anymore, but you are? It's because they didn't have the reasons. They didn't have strong enough reasons to keep doing what you all were doing together or what you're still doing now, and you don't even know where they are right now, even if you wanted to reach them. Why is that? Fuel. The fuel for finishing what you start, ladies and gentlemen, is reasons. I told you in the episode, I believe it was 1236, who the hell is Dre Baldwin? What was the real motivation for why I played pro basketball? It wasn't because I could jump high and run fast and dribble basketball. It was because there was a coach who I wanted to prove in my own mind to anyone who I felt had doubted or been against, and even in a subtle way, even by their indifference, had been against my goal of making it in basketball. That was my reason for actually trying to make it. It wasn't my basketball ability. There's a lot of people who could play basketball. The reason is the fuel. So when I hit the speed bumps, and there were a whole lot of speed bumps, when I hit them, I kept going because I had strong enough reason. I had enough fuel in my tank to keep pushing. Talent is not a fuel. Let me say that one more time. Talent is not a fuel to push you through friction. Resources such as people, time, money, even energy, just energy in itself with no real reason behind the energy, those are not strong enough fuel to get you up and over the hill of any situation. Once you hit that friction, once you hit that conflict, once you hit the point when things are not going as planned, and I guarantee you, any ambitious plan you have in life will not go according to the plan that you have in your mind. If you don't have the right fuel, you will quit. Or you'll half-ass your way through it, and if you ever do finish it, the opportunity will be so long gone, you won't even remember what it was. So the question you have to ask yourself is, why are you doing this? What is your why? What is your reason for doing what you're doing? You don't have to announce it to anyone. You don't have to tell anyone. Those things that I just told you about playing ball, I never told that to anyone. The first time I really put that out there for people to know about it was maybe I made a YouTube video, maybe 2015. But when I wrote my book, Work on Your Game, that's the first time I really documented why, the real reasons, the real motivation for why I wanted to make it to where I made it as a basketball player. Nobody else knew that, but I knew it. You need to know what your reasons are. You need to know what your why is. The USA, United States of America, in the late 1960s, there was a conflict going on in the country of Vietnam, and the United States got involved. But not everybody in the country. And the thing about a war is, someone said that, I believe it was Karl von Clausewitz, a German philosopher, who said that war is the extension of politics by other means. So when people can't handle things politically, they go to war to handle things. So we can't handle it diplomatically and talk it out, all right, then we're going to handle it physically. And that's what war is. And the war in Vietnam, the reason why I brought up the political thing that von Clausewitz said is that a country doesn't want to go to war if the citizens of that country are not behind it, because then they don't feel like they have the country's support, and then people in political positions are going to lose their jobs and get voted out of office, and things get all sloppy. So the United States got involved in the Vietnam conflict, which became the Vietnam War. But the Americans, there was widespread, as I've read, there was widespread support, but the support was not deep. Like we talked about a few episodes ago, inches and miles. The spread, the support was a mile wide, but it was only an inch deep. People weren't that invested into the United States involvement in the war because we didn't quite understand. I'm saying we, I wasn't alive back then, but people were not quite understanding or invested in the reasons for the Americans getting involved in that war. And historically, we look back on that and posterity says it was a bad idea for the Americans to get involved in the Vietnam War. Now, World War II, on the other hand, which was just 20, 30 years earlier, that our involvement in that began with the attack on Pearl Harbor in Hawaii in 1941 was the attack on Pearl Harbor. Now, when that happened, the American support was a mile wide and a mile deep. Now that's where you want to be. Now, when I just talked to you about hell yes or no, okay, that's where it is. A mile wide and a mile deep. That's the thing you need to be doing. Now, once Pearl Harbor happened, the Americans, both the military, political sides, and the citizens of America, everyone was engaged in that one. Everyone wanted America to get involved and get revenge. I guess we can call I think we can absolutely call this revenge on Japan for what happened. And what later on happens, Americans, actually was a couple years later into the war, the Americans dropped a couple of nuclear bombs on Japan and absolutely devastated those cities, damn near wiped the whole cities out. If you go read about those, I read about them before I even added them into this episode. But the point that I'm making with that is, in Vietnam, the why was not strong enough. And that's why the outcome of that war, posterity looks back on it and says that was a bad idea. World War II, the why was very, very strong. And the Americans were going to take it as far as it needed to go until we won. And that's exactly what happened. Now, I'm not saying that the why is the reason why those wars turned out the way that they did, but I am saying that that's the reason why they turned out the way that they did. History looks back on them the way that they look back on them because of the reasons. When your reasons are strong enough, you will find a justification. You will find a way to finish every single thing that you start. Let's recap today's topic, which is how to finish everything that you start. Because many of us, you listen to a show called Work on Your Game, we suffer from overwhelm, doing too many things or trying to do too many things, not yet having things done, unsure about where to begin, feeling like we're overwhelmed and going to drown in all the stuff that we want to do. But you don't want to be left with a bunch of things started and not completed, because that leads to even higher and worse levels of overwhelm before you might have to declare time and attention bankruptcy. Today, we're going to handle that issue. Point number one, choose wisely. The 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of your inputs. What are those inputs? You need to be focusing on that. Don't start things for which you cannot draw a line to your ultimate outcomes. First of all, you got to know what your ultimate outcome is. Know where you're aiming to go, and then ask yourself, how does this activity, if I choose to get involved in it, notice that word, choose to get involved in it, how does it help me get there? If you can't answer the question, maybe you shouldn't be doing it. And I would suggest you don't start it until you can answer the question. Because listen, hard work is important. I'm not telling you not to work hard, but working hard on the wrong things is not a good idea. Point number two, say no more often. Derek Sivers, I credit him with this idea, and from now on, I'm going to credit myself with it. It's hell yes or no. If you're not answering hell yes to an opportunity, to a choice, then the answer is no. And if you need to say no to 20 things in a row in order to find that hell yes in thing number 21, be okay with doing that. Because in Western society, we have conditioned ourselves. We have been socialized to believe that we have to be doing something. We have to be productive. We have to be being active just to feel like we're contributing, or just to feel like we're worth the money that we're making, or feel like we're not losers. We have to be doing something. But understand, if you want to be doing something, here's what you do. Say no to more things. That's doing something. Saying no is doing something. You do not have to commit to things that you're not excited about. If you're not hell yes about something, don't do it, because all you're going to produce is a half-assed result any damn way, if you even finish it. Point number three, fuel up. If you're going to drive across town, you need gas in your car. If you're going to run a marathon, you need to eat food and drink water. If you got a big business event or you're taking a big test, you probably want to get enough sleep. It's the same thing in life. You need reasons. The fuel for succeeding and finishing things in life successfully are reasons. You need a reason to be doing what you're doing that will get you through the finish line, because every plan, no matter how well laid and how strategized the plan, will hit friction. It will hit conflict. Things will go off course and off the path. How are you going to finish it? If you don't have a strong enough why, you're not going to finish it. And or when you look back on it and in the future, even if you do finish it, you're going to regret that you even finished it. You're going to regret the time and effort and energy that you put into it because it wasn't, you're going to feel like rather that it wasn't worth it because your reasons weren't strong enough. The Americans' reasons for getting involved in Vietnam were not strong enough. That's why posterity say, we look back on it and say that was a bad idea as a country to get involved in it. I'm not saying that anyone who was in the military who may be listening to this, I'm not saying you made a bad idea or a mistake by getting involved in the war. Just so I'm making sure I'm saying that. But as a country is what I'm saying. And for the Americans to get involved in World War II is looked back on as a good idea because we're like, hey, they bombed us. Well, how can we not get involved in that? Almost anyone you ask says that we had to get involved because of the reasons. When the reasons are strong enough, you will push through to the end until you get the outcome that you want. So start making better decisions, know what your outcome is, and fuel up, and you'll achieve the outcomes that you wish to achieve. Now, those episodes that I've referred to in the past and the other 1,000+ episodes of the Work on Your Game podcast that are not available to the public, you can get full access to them as a member of the game group. If you go to workonmygame.com/game group, you can either, based on what I know right now, you can either get on the list. The alert list will let you know when the game group is available, or it is available already, and you can sign up, get started with a free trial to see what's going on in the game group. We got courses in there that are not available anywhere else, material in there that you would not find anywhere else, material in there that you would find somewhere else if you took about a day or two to go look around the internet for it, but we've already found it for you and curated it for you, and we will continue to do that in the game group membership. Again, that's at workonmygame.com/game group. Work on your game. Dre all day.